It was a cold and snowy day, the kind of day where the weather reflected the unpredictability of what was. I was lost in the sea of my attention, surrounded by a fog that hosted the demons of torment. Then out of nowhere, I heard the lighthouse of your voice. I could not see, but I felt your space within. For too long, I've been trapped as a victim in the echoes of my mind. Venom coursed through my veins as toxic words fumbled with each other while impatiently waiting to be spewed. My body slammed in anguish, battered from years of being lost and blinded by the rage of my victim's cry. I straddled the line between here and there as I swirled in my hangover of grief. My arms acted like a cane that swayed side to side, gingerly searching for a lifeline as I prayed that hope would shelter me from the turmoil of my memories. My mind was a distorted canvas of vibrant colors that housed the whirlwinds of chaos as I stood fully exposed at the crossroads of discomfort. And for a moment, my heart forgot its purpose and skipped beats as tears flooded its chambers with the waters of inevitability. At that same moment, your voice was an invitation to the door of my rebirth. I was cocooned in the placenta of the unknown as dark clouds rained the numbness of sadness. Like a deer in the headlights, I stood paralyzed, unable to run from the fight. My suffering had reached its boiling point from years of piling one-sided perceptions beneath the canopy of my forest. Psychosis or the burning bush, either way, your voice echoed from the valley of my shadows as a lifeline to the madness of that moment. A voice I knew, a voice I know. The tenor of your words were like a sunset backdrop in the eye of my storm, a gift from the depths that provided a force field protecting my battered soul as waves gingerly crashed over me. Each served as a reminder to the spirit I am. Caught in the intersectionality of seconds, space was an illusion of linear time, and I was an unbalanced hiccup of insight awaiting an audience. The gentleness of your voice revealed wonders to my discomfort. I was still unsure of how or why, but unknowingly, the process of shedding my old skin of suffering had begun. There is a beginning and an end to all life. My dash is my vault of wisdom to where my experiences are deposited and insight awaits withdrawal. It also houses your voice as a reminder that light cannot exist without the dark. I am but one drop in an ocean of drops. I am here now to experience all. Otherwise, this journey would be pointless and, quite frankly, boring. So until further notice, I'm celebrating every darn thing. End of piece. Thank you, and good morning, good evening, good night, whatever part of the world you are. Excuse me. My name is Rawle James. I go by the name Rawle Iam as a poet, and I am a poet. I reside in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I've been living in Canada for the past 40-something years. I've had the good fortune of growing up in Toronto and also living in Western Canada. I just returned back to Toronto a year and a half ago after spending 17 years out west, just having a marvelous experience. And that's actually where poetry came into my life. I was teaching at a private college in the city of Kelowna where I lived, and one day positioned an assignment to my students. This blast of inspiration came out, and it was a poetry assignment that I gave to my students. I had not written a poem ever, but I'm giving them this assignment and I'm kind of questioning where's this coming from, but I went with the madness anyway. And it turned out to be a really good blessing, because that assignment led to a recital that I put on in the school, and that recital birthed an open mic show called the Inspired Word Cafe, which is going into its 14th year, I believe. So once I left Cologne, I passed it on to the young poets who's carrying on the mantle of bringing poetry to the people of Kelowna. So I've been very fortunate of poetry coming into my life. I still struggle, excuse me, with the title of being a poet when I think of some of the poets that I get to associate with and come across. So I'm a humble servant of the ethers, where I get these downloads and then I turn them into a prose or poetry. So that first piece I shared is called The Voice. It's a very dear piece to me. It kind of highlights an awakening that I had back in my life on December 17, 2001 at 1:45 in the PM. I heard a voice. That voice was an invitation for me to really step in and to look at myself and to look at my life and to deal with the trauma and the events that I couldn't look at in a holistic way, but I think I was ready to do so on that day, and not by myself. That event opened the door to a couple of earth angels showing up and truly helping me through that process of doing the deep internal work. So that's what that poem means to me. As I was saying in my introduction, I rarely sit down to write a poem about anything. I get these downloads. I get these little inspirations that I work on. Sometimes they come complete. Sometimes they are just a single line, but I get these inspirations and I kind of capture them in my book. I'm still old school. I like to write with pen and paper, and then I transfer it into my Google Drive. So, just to give you a little example of what I'm talking about. Here's a thought that just came to me last night, and I'm sure I'll flush it out more. It felt like the sun's intensity was just for me, as it attempted to burn out the cataracts of thoughts that heightened sight. And this also came along with that thought. The angels of the night await as I hang on to the last of the day's light. Fear cascades into another goodbye. My eyes I blessed with another sunset. So the last one I kind of like as it is, but we'll see what we'll do. But just to give you an idea, so when people ask me, why do I write poetry? I write based on maybe what inspires me, what comes from the ethers into my mind, and what I'm meant to capture. And like I said, I write it down. If I don't have pen and paper around, which I always do, I capture it on my phone in my notes. I have a number of pieces to work on, but outside of just being a poet, one of the things I also do is I love organizing, and I run two shows online. The Inspired Poetry Corner, which is on the third Sunday of every month. We just completed an amazing show where we were able to highlight one of India's own, Dr. Molly Joseph, this past month, and been blessed being connected to the poetry community online to be able to be connected to so many amazing wordsmiths that are willing to come and share their brilliance with us. I also do an open mic show the third Wednesdays of every month called Home is the Heart, where we invite people to just come and recite. I initially created it for a platform for voices that normally don't recite, but anyone is welcome. So anyway, let me give you another piece of poetry. This is one of my favorite pieces. The pieces that I write are kind of like my kids. I'll say, this one's my favorite, then you'll hear me say it about another. It's hard to pick one over the other. It's kind of like your children. I love all three of my children, but I always tell each and every one of them, you're my favorite. Just don't tell the others. So it's kind of the same thing with my poems. This piece is called Suspended Moment. The other night, as I stood in the light rain, conversing with my higher power, in the full practice of gratitude for being on the right side of the dirt and the day's experience, this happened. You know that feeling The feeling when you move your hand just right and you hit one singular raindrop in full flight. That feeling of exhilaration. It's like being a kid on the swing, reaching the apex from a push. And just before the descent, there's a moment where you float in a suspended moment. To fully let go, hands off the ropes, arms in perpendicular splendor. That sensation of flying like a bird, carefree as spirit unplugs from the eternal story. Being connected to the innocence of the moment, in the existence of the moment. I am a witness to my thoughts as they dissipate before my eyes. Gravity and I dance a dance that seduces my imagination to be heroic in all future moments. That state of oneness is what death might feel like. No pain, no knowing, just being. I am in grace with everything and nothing of the one raindrop. Its magic is the same infinite jolt that births life as it propels me through the unknown. From within the cryptic underbelly of the universe, it is revealed to me that the universe is my mind that crafts a series of suspended moments. And as I blindly navigate through the fog of memories that shapes the illusions of my reality, my memories of frames of suspended moment where front is back and back is being in a scramble sequence playing in the theater of consciousness where time is neither space nor whole. So here I am, snatched back into my moment of gratitude, shaking my head in disbelief, questioning the lucid feelings that shape the reality within my world. Either way, a glimpse was experienced, a glance into the power of the moment, the oneness, stillness, chaotic, playful, noisy, beautiful nature that is life, connecting me to the collective consciousness that wraps me warmly in the blissful ignorance of knowledge. Here I stand in the rain, knowing that feeling cannot be washed away as I free fall on my swing, back to zero, floating in a suspended moment that is everything and nothing. End of piece. Yeah, that piece, I still remember writing that piece. I had just gotten home from work, again, living in Western Canada. And I went outside, as I always do, to practice gratitude, saying, thank you for the day, to my higher power, which I call Yah. And it was raining. It started to rain. And I was just standing there and I moved my hand in a certain way and I just hit this one ranger. Not it hitting me. It's like I hit this one ranger and boom. It was just this portal of this came out and I ran back in the house and grabbed my phone and I captured the essence of this piece and then I obviously worked on it. So I really I love this piece. The last two pieces I wrote are more prose than poetry, but it gives you an idea of who I am. I write in hopes of helping shift our human consciousness. I write poetry, proses as an invitation for others to step within and really look at themselves and to get their house in order so we can look at the world in a different way and hopefully, like I said, lift our human consciousness to where we now look at our past in a holistic way without fear and stop beating each other up for a past that we cannot change, but learn from it so we can build better todays and tomorrows. So, that's why I write poetry, and I suspect to some degree that's why most poets write. So, this next piece is called Equinox of Change. This rhapsody of words is a yawn that I hope will take you on a celestial journey to where love is the invitation to go beyond imagination. You see, she took my hand, and in an instant, we were transported to the emptiness of the beginning. We traveled through black holes and wormholes linked only by moments. back when the playground of time and space was nothing but a thought. Surfing galactic waves as we slingshot around the sun, eyes wide open to the lucid adventures of duality's realm. Gravity ripped us into these carbon-based bodies of pleasure and pain with an intensity that brought us forth crying to the equinox of change. 30 kilometers per second, one heartbeat expanding everywhere in all places. Out of the dark, light spewed purpose into the fertile void, bringing forth my lover's child. Truth by design, we created stories of evolution to make sense of the mayhem, if only to find our place in the vastness. The tears of my lover washed over me to baptize the rhythm that propelled life forward on this, the sixth rock to the sun. A love is complete and allows us to hang our heads as we fight for our soul's purpose. Sitting at the intersection of ignorance and discomfort, we are trapped in the illusion of permanence as we swim in the dark conflicts of our minds. Our patience and tolerance stretch beyond its elasticity as we await its snap back to sanity. The invisible energy that drove our adventurous spirits out of the caves is the same energy of self-realization that fuels our fears of the unknown. It is in the uneasiness of knowing that leads to questions that cannot be answered. This is a battle that wages within every living soul. We search high and low to the four corners, stretching beyond the fringe to feel alive. But I was born from your breath to die. Death's value comes from time, yet one is guaranteed and the other isn't. You close the door in my mind while opening a window in my heart for wisdom's glow to shine. From a near distance, voices of generations past echo the cry. Are we willing to lose everything, to have everything? While in the same breath from a distance, the voices of tomorrow's souls whisper faint murmurings of a daydream. Are we willing to lose all that we value, to value all? And as the witching hour approaches, I fear the increasing seconds building to my lover's midnight. I pass through ignorance into the chamber of knowledge, and out of despair, I empty my cup of ego's waters to quench my thirst of hunger and misery. Out of the perpetual fires of conscious souls, my temperance rises like the phoenix silhouettes against the full moon splendor. Shame and guilt challenge my night's work, but a new strength derived from my lover's light. Out of the murky waters of doubt, I walk into the sunshine of my redemption, casting shades of worthiness. I have freed my mind's eye of scarcity to sing the song. We all breathe the same air, walk the same earth, drink the same water. We all come from woman, and death will visit us all. The universe is my lover, for all creation is truth. End of piece. That's a long piece, but like I said, it's a hearty piece. It's a good piece to me. Once again, that invitation for us to step within ourselves and to really understand who we are, particularly when you get to a certain age. You know, I'm entering my 63rd rotation around the sun, and I've been asked many times, as I've gotten older, particularly as the gray hairs have come in, if you could go back, would you go back? And I go, no. If that was possible, I wouldn't. There's a beauty to getting older, and there's a beauty to starting to understand the knowledge and the wisdom that, I've been afforded through the experiences that I've had. And to me, that's where wisdom lives. Wisdom does not live in the now, and it definitely does not live in the future. It lives in the past, and it's attached to the experiences that I've had. And I wouldn't want to trade in any of those experiences. As I sit here now, I have no regrets. does not mean I'm not happy with some of the things I've done in my past. But to me, holding regrets serves no purpose to me because I cannot go back and undo anything. And I wouldn't either way. You apologize when you have to. You apologize to those that you've wronged, but you can't change anything. All you can do is learn from it. So, that's what I've taken from life. And I just very much try now not to be stuck in a victim mindset. And you see a lot of that going on in the world today. Many people are stuck in a victim's mindset. It's always somebody else's fault. And in my world, everything starts with me. It's my choice. It's just like it was my choice to get out of bed this morning. It's my choice to walk outside. If something was to happen, I was the one that made the choice to go outside. Doesn't absolve someone doing wrong to me, but I make the choice to live how I want. So, and that's what I try to get across in my poetry. Here's a newer piece that I'll share with you. I'm still not sure if this piece is done, but must be done because I'm going to share it with you. It's called The Space Between Space. Let's try that again. There resides a whisper within the space between space that urges me to contemplate me in all things. From the initial spark, I've been on the path to weather the dark clouds, and over time, to remove the blinders, revealing the silver lining. My resilience is a wave of stored memories, a touchstone forward into a crest, suspended in a moment of unabated glory that rises vertically into its power, releasing its climactic cleansing waters upon my battered soul. And as the waters retract back to the sea, a piece of my soul returns, an appreciation for safe passage through the trials of life's spectrum. And forgiveness, it stands at the ready as a choice when needed be. End of piece. And that's a piece, like I said, I'm still not sure if I'm fully there with it, but I kind of like where it's at right now. And it's really about resilience. If you see my shirt, I'm wearing resilience. This is it's a very powerful word, but sometimes I think we misunderstand it. From what I've learned in my walk, resiliency comes from the bad and ugly experiences of my life. So this is why, in a lot of my poetry, I always write, you cannot know light without dark. Neither one is right or wrong. It's just two different experiences we have. I have experiences in the daylight. I have experiences at night as well. And both of them offer opportunities to learn. And in both, I experienced the good, the bad, the ugly, and the beautiful of life. And without either one of them, I don't know any of them. So this is why I think resiliency is something we need to look at in a different way and to embrace the harshness, because there's so many lessons attached to it once you've been removed from it. A lot of times it's hard for us to look at these things because it's pain. And to me, pain and suffering are natural agents of growth. Some say pain is not optional, suffering is optional. I've learned, though, they're both part of the growth process. Pain happens when the event happens. Suffering happens when you don't understand why things happen and you just kind of keep reliving it in your mind over and over. So anyway, so that just gives you an example of different styles of what I've written. Here's another prose. There's a couple of more pieces I'll do before we end this session. I'm so grateful and humbled and honored, and wanting to thank Fertile Brain and Kumar for inviting me to be a part of this and honoring me. I've seen some of the other amazing poets that have done this half-hour spotlight, so I am grateful. And I thank you, Kumar, my brother, for this honor. This piece is called "Her Strength is Her Beauty." She is patient with time and expects nothing, for she knows nothing happens without a choice and in the right time. She simply holds space to offer a hand for when I fall, or a shoulder for tears to waterfall. She cloaked my inner child with her unwavering spirit, but my foolish pride had me trapped in the fog of insensibility that just for a moment allowed her beauty to be absent. Only in the constant echoing of doubt did I question her resolve, for you see, her beauty is her strength, and her strength is beauty. And as I stood at the threshold, hesitating at the roads that laid before, feeling alone and abandoned, I'm conflicted by which path to take. I looked for courage void of fear as I searched both high and low for the strength of character that lingered in the chasm of right and left brain thinking, hoping that my choice this time would remove the rose-colored glasses that flooded me with ego's lust for balance between ignorance and blinded intelligence. She's the unspoken whisper that floats upon the trade winds. The subtle, shy slant of her eyes seductively inspires hints of untamed playfulness. The slight tilt of her head highlights her flowing braided hair and the way it partially covers her caressing moon smile. For reasons beyond my understanding, her voice and her beauty shined like never before. As I trembled at the doorway of discomfort, she gently took my hand and placed it upon my heart. And without uttering a word, she reminded me of the flame that burns within. At that moment, her strength was her beauty, for her beauty transcended the moment and appeared as a multitude of orchestrated thoughts. Once again, I embraced her beauty to silence my own will. I accepted her feminine wiles, which unfolded beneath my feet as solid ground. And if I had the audacity to breathe in the particles of her beauty, my lungs will forever be filled, my thirst forever quenched. She invited me into my own vulnerability to see the strength of my own beauty. Together we floated on a bed of water lilies on a river for tears with only imagination as our guide, as our souls frolicked and pranced in the garden of content. She once again reminded me that alone is a construct designed to blind self. As the day's light crept closer to revealing the night's secrets, I safely cocooned my soul into her beauty, to dream dreams of shooting stars that lit up our soul's playground. We fell with the sands of time, witnessing time itself stand still, reborn into our wild and free selves to dance for the sake of the dance, succulently under the stars of the light of the pale moon. For you see, her beauty is her strength, and her strength, beauty. End of piece. Thank you. I'll end this with a couple of more pieces. This is a kind of a newer piece. I think I wrote it sometime earlier this year. I really don't date when I write poetry, so I guess in my Google's doc I can always go and look at when I first put this in, but it was sometime this year, and it's called Free of the Cage. I am free of the cage, out of the mind's prison, to see the candlelight shining the art of my life. I am my joys. I am my mistakes. In beauty's splendor, no longer lonely, no longer pain. I am free to fall, free to soar. No longer afraid to be. I welcome the dark clouds dancing in the rain's content. Foolishly in love, I am the morning dew. I am the evening mist, the key that unlocks. I am the secret to my desires. I am lost in my pain to be found as my cure. An unwavering idea of squandered time, no longer worried, anxious no more. I am free of the cage and flow with grace as I make my way forward back to the unknown. I am free of the lies free in my truth, no longer lonely, no longer pain. I am free, free, free until I am no more. End of peace. Here's another short little one. I wrote this one for my daughter who passed a year ago this month. So this is in honor of my daughter, Irene. It's called Daffodil. Every time I see a daffodil, I feel your presence. It's my spirit letting me know you are well. I know wherever you are, no memories of our time exist. I hope you are being loved by those holding you, like how you held us. Every time they see a daffodil, maybe it reminds them of you, for Irie's love knows no bound. End of peace. And this last piece, I will leave you as a reminder that at the end of the day, it is about love. It's about balance with love and fear. And that together, we live on this planet together. And there's only together we get to experience the good, the bad, the ugly, and the beautiful. And to remember we are human, we are life. And we get to share this amazing planet, not just with humanity, with all of life, with the plants, with all the greenery, all the animals, all of life. We are all in this together. This last piece is called It Matters Not. It matters not that we walk together for me to love you, for my love reflects spirit. It matters not if you can see my love, for my love is the hope in us all. It matters not if you can hear my love, for my love is the sound that echoes eternal life. It matters not if you can feel my love, for my love beats in the hearts of all. It matters not if you know the touch of my love, for my love is the inhaled breath that is life. It matters not if you know of my love, for my love lives now and in all the days to come. It matters not anything, for my love for you is everything. End of peace. Thank you so much, Fertile Brain, Brother Kumar, for this opportunity. Thank you all. Have a blessed, blessed, blessed day.